Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain, and today on this episode of Making Heroes, I'm going to show you how to make Blix from the movie Legend in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So now the first step in making your character in Pathfinder 2nd Edition is always to start with a idea, a character concept. So now, if you've seen the movie Legend, you are familiar with Blix. Blix is the leader of the goblins in the movie, working for Darkness, played by Tim Curry. And while Tim Curry's Darkness may be the most quotable character in the movie of Legend, I feel like Blix is a close second, with some great lines and being very campy, and the actor very much hamming it up. Blix was a very memorable character for me in one of my favorite childhood fantasy films of the 1980s. So, without any further ado, I'm just going to jump on into it and tell you how I made Blix for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So, now the second step is, of course, starting ability scores, as they all start at a 10 with a neither plus or minus of 0 for their modifications. Next, we go to the ancestries. Now, Blix was a goblin, definitely. So I decided, of course, that Blix would also be a goblin for their character in Pathfinder as well. So as a goblin in Pathfinder, Blix starts with 6 hit points, size of small, speed of 25 feet. Blix gains ability boosts to dexterity, charisma, and a free ability boost of your choosing, which I took in wisdom to counterbalance the ability flaw of wisdom that they also get for being a goblin. Now, goblins are not known for being particularly wise, but while Blix did not seem to be incredibly wise, they also did not seem to be unwise as a character. So I decided, while I'm not going to give them a massive boost to their wisdom stat-wise through this character creation process, I did not want them to start with a -2 to their wisdom. So I simply counterbalanced it with the free ability boost. Goblins start for free speaking Common and Goblin and may gain additional languages based on their modifier for intelligence. A little bit of a spoiler here, I do not wind up giving Blix any positive modifier for intelligence, so he will be speaking Common and Goblin, and that is all. The goblins have the traits of Goblin and Humanoid, and they also gain Dark Vision, standard to start with. After that, you need to pick a heritage. Now, for my heritage for Blix, I decided to go with Snow Goblin. Now, the reason for this was because of how much Blix liked it when the mortal world was turned to ice. He rejoiced in it being cold and did not seem to have the cold bother him whatsoever. See, with the Snow Goblin ancestry, you gain a cold resistance equal to half your current level, minimum of 1, and you treat all environmental cold effects as if they were one step less extreme than they are. So this seemed to really fit with Blix's attitude toward the sudden ice age he created after killing the first unicorn and cutting off its horn. Now, for goblins, at first level, they get an ancestry feat, and I decided to give Blix Goblin Weapon Familiarity. Blix had a number of weapons on him, and I thought for his sword, it would be nice to be able to make that a signature Goblin weapon, so I wanted to give him the Goblin Weapon Familiarity. I thought it was very characterful and made sense for the character. Now, the next step in character creation is to choose a background. And now, Blix was very familiar with hunting in the wilds and hunting animals, so I thought it was a good idea to give him the background hunter. So for the background hunter, you get 2 ability boosts. One must be either dexterity or wisdom, and the other is a free ability boost. So I gave Blix a boost to dexterity, and then the second ability boost was to constitution, because I did feel with his rugged hunter persona, he should get some boost to his constitution. In addition, being a hunter, you automatically get the skills survival and tanning lore, and the feat survey wildlife. Now, all of this very much fits in with his hunter persona. Now, for the fifth step in character creation, you pick a class. And as if there was ever any doubt, of course, Blix is a rogue. He is sneaky, he is sly, he attacks from a distance from cover of darkness. This is Blix. So, as a rogue, Blix gets a boost to dexterity, followed by, in addition to the boost to dexterity, all rogues start with expert in perception, trained in fortitude, expert in reflex, and expert in will saving throws. They also get trained in the stealth skill and trained in one or more skills determined by their rogue's racket, plus 7 other skills plus their intelligence modifier. So for me here, I took the rogue racket of thief, which gave Blix trained in the skill thievery, and then I chose 7 more skills, so that all the skills, just to give you a running total now, Blix winds up with the skills acrobatics, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, lore tanning, lore hunting, nature, performance, stealth, survival, and thievery for his full skill repertoire. Then all rogues are trained in simple weapons, trained in the rapier, sap, shortbow, and short sword, and trained in unarmed attacks. For defenses, they're trained in light armor and unarmored defenses, and they start with trained in the rogue difficulty class. Now, like I said before, I decided to choose for their rogue racket the thief rogue racket. And then, of course, all rogues start with sneak attack, which gives them bonus when hitting enemies that are flat-footed. Surprised attacks, which allow them to react faster into combat when using stealth or deception. And if they react before their enemy will automatically be flat-footed and therefore get the bonus damage from sneak attack. And then also they get a first-level rogue feat. And for my first level rogue feat, I chose for Blix to have Nimble Dodge, which allows them to react with a +2 bonus to their armor class if they can see the attack coming from their target, making Blix rather wily and able to get out of the way of incoming attacks. Now, in addition, all rogues get to get a skill feat at level 1. So for my skill feat, I decided to take Terrain Stalker, which helps the character to hide in the underbrush when stalking their prey, which again really fits into the whole hunter theme I have going for Blix, which makes sense for the character. Now the next step is step 6, where you get to determine your ability scores. You put in all of the ability scores you've already chosen and get to choose 4 more ability boosts. For my 4 additional ability boosts, I chose Dexterity, Wisdom, Charisma, and Constitution. So now this will give the following total boosts. So Strength is at a +0 because Blix did not seem particularly strong. Dexterity at a +4, which is as high as it could possibly go. Total score, stat score of 18, because Blix did seem rather dexterous and seemed very good at hitting targets at range. Constitution at +2 to make him kind of rugged and able to deal with surviving in the wilderness. Intelligence at +0 because he didn't seem exceptionally bright. Wisdom at +1 total because he's not unwise. And Charisma at +2, he should have a bit of charisma ability because he was able to at least lead a small band of goblins. Now, then we record all of our class details and we move on to equipment. So for equipment, I decided to buy equipment that thoroughly fits all of the things we see Blix use and wear in the movie. So I bought leather armor for Blix. He seemed to be wearing light armor. A dog slicer to represent the sword that we see him use when he cuts the unicorn's horn off. A short bow that is seen when we see Blix attacking the camp when one of the fairies is defending the unicorn. 20 arrows for that bow. Thieves' tools, because those are going to be quite necessary. A sheath for the sword. An adventurer's pack, because it is just a general good thing for everybody to start with. A blowgun, as seen when he shoots a poisoned dart into the unicorn towards the first act. of the movie, and 20 darts for the blowgun. Now, there is no poison to purchase to start with, but of course, Blix could pick up poison slaying, say, a giant centipede or other venomous animal and save it to be used with his blowgun, as seen again in the movie. Now, having purchased all of these items, Blix is left with 57 silver pieces and 9 copper pieces, and he can carry all these items unencumbered. So now it is time to go over all of the final stats. So again, strength +0, dexterity +4, constitution +2, intelligence +0, wisdom +1, charisma +2. Got a base difficulty class for his rogue skill class at 17. He's got +4 to his fortitude saving throw, +9 for reflex, and +6 for will. Got a total armor class of 21. Total current hit points of 15, thanks to the boost in hit points for the starting hit points for the class of Rogue. Got a +6 to perception checks, +7 to acrobatics, +5 to deception, +5 to diplomacy, +5 to intimidation, +3 to tanning lore, +3 to hunting lore, +4 to nature, +5 to performance, +7 to stealth, +4 to survival, and +7 to thievery. Now, the dog slicer will hit with a +7, doing 1d6 plus the dexterity modifier, which is +4 in damage, and that is an agile, backstabber, finesse, and goblin weapon. The short bow hits with a +7 to hit, with 1d6 damage, and is deadly d10 with a 60-foot range. The bowgun hits with a +7 to hit, is agile and non-lethal, does 1 non-lethal damage, which means that it obviously will not do lethal damage without poison on the darts. So there are the starting stats for Blix. Now for some finishing details, we've got to pick Blix's alignment. So I chose for Blix, based on his actions in the movie, that Blix should be chaotic evil. It seems very likely like the character is chaotic evil. Now you might want to soften that a bit if you're trying to play this in a group and you're not necessarily playing a evil party, because it is difficult to have an evil character in a non-evil party. So you might want to soften that down to maybe a chaotic neutral. Of course, that will differ the character from the way they were portrayed in the movie. It will just make it easier to play them in the group. As regard to gender, I do have something I want to talk about with this. Now, Blix is male as a character, but there was only one reference in the entire movie to the fact that he's male, and Blix was played by a woman. So, on top of that, Blix seems a bit gender fluid in the way he is portrayed in the movie. So I think Blix could be open to being male or female, or maybe even a transgender character. It seems a likely place where you could really change things up a little bit, and I don't think it's going to harm the character one iota. Now, that is everything we've got to go for Blix. That is Blix in the game of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So, tell me what you guys think of my choices in making Blix for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Would you have made different choices? Tell me what you would have done. If you enjoyed this episode of Making Heroes and you'd like to see me do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.